So I was recently at an event at my daughter's school, and it's a multiracial school. That means there are kids from many different countries who are studying there. So it's very multicultural. And, I was there, I'm standing, I'm watching my 4-year-old daughter perform, and it was so cute. And then I see one of the moms suddenly walk up to me, and she had this big smile on her face, and she said, our daughters are very good friends. And I was like, yes, of course, I know that. And we got into this beautiful, friendly conversation, and we were talking about the little ones. And just to get to know her a little better, I said, where do you work? And she took this bank's name, big bank in the world, global bank. And she was one of the high flying bosses at that bank. So it was a very glamorous job. And she obviously took a lot of pride in saying that. All right. And then she asked me, so what do you do? And I looked at her and I said, I'm a food photographer. And then she looked at me and she said, oh, interesting. And then she walked away, like literally, no, excuse me, I gotta run, or no smile, no nothing. She turned her back and she walked away. This is your host, Dyutama, but you can call me DJ. And I love to inspire food photographers to dream. I spent 15 years as an architect studying buildings and constructing hospitals before taking the biggest leap of faith of my life, which was setting up a food styling and food photography business right from scratch. If you're a dreamer like me, wanting to start a new photography business or grow your existing food photography business, jump right into a world where I share practical, actionable strategies to improve your photography skills, to work with clients, make more money, all with a fearless mindset. This is the My Food Lens podcast, and we take you one step closer to your dreams. So let's go. What we speak about today is actually going to be really raw and real, like never before. It's actually based on a question that I was asked by an aspiring food photographer who also happens to be an architect. And when she asked me this question, I was like, hold on. Like literally, I felt like I had traveled back in time, because what she said were exactly my thoughts when I was starting out. And I thought, oh my God, we really need to bring this out in the world, because I'm one, she's another one, and I'm pretty sure there are so many of us out there who have the same questions, and it might be worthwhile sharing this, because consciously or subconsciously, these thoughts come to all of us, when we are thinking of becoming a full-time food photographer. Now, I need to have this disclaimer that today's episode, it may spark some strong reactions. It may bring up some wounds, if you have raw wounds. But for most, I think it will really resonate with you, especially if you have switched careers to take up food photography, or even if you're thinking about it or you're on the threshold of it, that you want to become a full-time food photographer. I am pretty sure, if not all, at least one of the things that we're going to talk about today will resonate with you, and it will spark some strong reaction in you. In fact, you might find yourself thinking, oh my God, that's exactly what I was thinking. Or, oh, that's my biggest fear too. How does she know? Or you might think, oh, well, I didn't think about it. That's quite a perception, or some of the other reaction. But I can guarantee you two things from this episode. One, that it will create a really strong emotion in you, and that it will also be a huge reality check. I mean, it might console some of you just thinking that, or knowing that you're not alone in this. And the second thing is that in the end, my aim is actually to give you a peek into the reality of becoming a food photographer. And then I want you to judge for yourself how you want to feel about it. I'm nobody to tell you what you need to feel about it. It's totally you, and you need to take that decision. My job here is to share something that the whole community, that almost everybody goes through, and that might help you in actually deciding what you feel about it. It's definitely not to scare you, but to offer you answers, the questions that you probably have at the back of your mind, possibly questions that you've never even spoken out loudly, but it is at the back of your mind and it's stopping you from taking the leap into a career of your dreams. But before we move forward, I want to play this audio piece for you. This was a question that was asked from me. So this was asked by Ali. Now, Ali is an architect who's based in South Africa. Ali is an architect. Woohoo! Did you hear that? So Ali is an architect. She's based in South Africa. She's also a food blogger and food photographer. And she has been wondering what it will take for her to take up food photography as a full-time profession. It has been on her mind. She's been clouded with thoughts and questions and doubts, and she has shared a lot of that with me. She's asked me many, many questions, out of which one of the questions I'm going to play it out for you right now so you can understand what Ali is experiencing and what her thought process is, because I feel like she is speaking for all of us. She's thinking for all of us in the sense that these questions are only natural and we have probably all experienced them, but she's literally put them into words for us. I mean, that's how I thought about it when I listened to it. All right. So I'm going to play Ali's question right now.
There's so many questions I would love to ask you, but I think the most burning question for me is I have this fear that food photography is kind of seen as lesser than architecture, or that it's less academic, or that it won't stimulate my mind enough, or I don't know. How do you deal with that? How did you deal with it? Does it feel like food photography and photography is stimulating enough for you and that you're using enough of your brain capacity? I mean, I know you used to write journal articles and it seemed like you were quite academic. So how do you kind of justify that to yourself, or how did you get over that hump? I think that's one of my biggest fears among the many others.
So I want to start off by saying that there are actually two kinds of battles that we need to overcome when we choose a new path in life or we choose a new career, which is in our case, food photography. It could be food blogging, it could be food styling, it could be any sort of food content creation related career. So we have two kinds of battles that we need to overcome or win when we dive into a new career. The first battle is actually a battle within ourselves. Now, some of us are fortunate enough to not have to undertake these battles, and good for you. I'm happy for you. But for many of us, including myself, it's not always a smooth segue into photography. In fact, these were one of the hardest battles for me when I moved into food photography. And, we always think that money is probably going to be the hardest thing. But no, for me, it was these internal and external battles. And I sabotaged my own start into food photography. So you know that I moved into photography from architecture, right? I left behind a 6-figure salary and I literally started from scratch in this new career. So, just hear out my thoughts. These were my thoughts in the initial months. I thought I would never be as cool as I was, all right? I thought that I would never be seen as successful as I used to be seen as an architect. I thought that I will never be considered as intellectual as I used to, because I used to be a researcher and a healthcare architect. All right. So intellectual, I would never be considered intellectual or as intellectual, that I would never make as much money as I used to, and I would never be as respected as I used to be. Oh my God. All right. So I think that I'm pretty sure that these questions have crossed your mind too. And I'm sure that you have faced some or the other resistance as well, right? I'm sure you've questioned yourself, like, is it too late for me to start? I mean, I'm literally starting from scratch. Is photography a hobby or is it really a profession for me? What will people say? Will I be looked on as a less intelligent person? Will I be taken seriously? Am I downgrading myself by shifting to a career like photography? The fight inside and the fight outside is serious stuff, boss. It literally messes up our chances of success, of really making a joyful and a profitable career out of something we love. It literally messes everything up. Those voices are evil. But you know what? Those voices are somewhat true too. No kidding, they are. So, are you ready to hear some real truth bombs? These might be tough to hear. They might trigger a reaction. Are you ready for that? I mean, after being in the industry for so many years and talking to several photographers around the world, I want to share some raw reality with you. The raw reality of moving into the new profession of photography and becoming a professional photographer. So, are you ready? Buckle up when you listen to this. And I have one request, and that is please don't form any opinions yet. Wait for that. We'll come to that. But for now, here are some truth bombs. All right, here we go. So, the first truth is that when you think that you won't be regarded as intellectual by being a photographer, you're probably right. Okay. So don't fall off your chair and don't you dare try to throw a shoe at me because it is right. I mean, most of the world doesn't think of photography as rocket science, right? You don't even need a formal education to be a photographer. And that's the truth. It is the truth. So, yeah, you probably may not be regarded as the most intellectual person out there by being a photographer. You're not a scientist, you're a photographer, all right? It's different. Anyway, don't form opinions yet. We're moving on. The second truth bomb is that people or the world in general, they may wonder how much money you really make as a photographer. Now, that skepticism is probably valid, right? Because it does take time to start making big bucks as a full-time photographer and even break even or even match your corporate salary. It's going to take time. Money does not come instantly in photography, just like any other business. So there might be a bit of judgment around money and your financial status, financial stability. That's a real truth. As a photographer, there will be a bit of skepticism about your financial stability. All right. What's the third truth bomb? The third truth bomb is a bit harsh and a bit personal. And the third truth bomb is about the support that you think you will have when you start and you don't get. So you may not get the support you want, not even from your closest friends and family. You may think you're being very brave, that this is a very exciting venture and that you're following your heart and that this big career jump is everything that you've done. Fine, it is. But don't expect other people to feel that excitement and to applaud you for your bravery. I mean, for all the closest people to you will probably make you feel like you're making the biggest mistake of your life and not support you. So you cannot make such a bold move thinking that, oh, yeah, everybody will be cheering for me and being there for me. Maybe not. All right. So what's the fourth truth bomb? The fourth truth bomb is about respect. So will you be taken seriously all the time? Maybe not. Or maybe. We don't know. Because the truth is that the world has a bit of an old-fashioned view on photography as a career. And there are those who think that, oh, yeah, it's amazing to follow your heart and how cool is it to be a photographer. There are many others who still think that photography is only good enough as a hobby. And, we just have to deal with that perception. So that's another truth about respect and being taken seriously. So whether it's money, whether it's intellect, whether it's support, or it's respect, I mean, these are battles within ourselves and external battles that we will have to face as a food photographer. Maybe not all, maybe some, maybe more. And it's not just something that we will have to tackle within our internal self, but also sometimes with the closest people in our lives. So that is hurtful. That is tough. That's a real challenge. Now, if you're not considered academic, if there isn't much money to begin with, maybe there's no support from your family, and maybe no one really thinks like, well, they just went and became a photographer. So what? There's no respect in this. Let's say all of this is true for you. All of this happens. So what does that mean? Does that mean that you're downgrading yourself? Does that mean that you're underutilizing your full potential, your intelligence, and that you'll probably not be as successful as others around you? Well, let me tell you one thing. That is how I felt when I moved to photography. I actually felt that I had given up my this hugely respected, somewhat glamorous title of healthcare architect. I know it's really not easy for me to share this. It's actually very tough for me to be open and honest about it because I'm such an advocate for always following your heart, do this is your passion, and this is how I did it. I'm always talking about it. But really, the truth is that I battled this within myself. This whole career switch was definitely a big question for me as well. And I know that most of us go through it in some form or the other, just like Ali. So imagine I was there, I was giving up a whole career in architecture for food photography. And I was thinking, oh, yeah, here I'm following my heart. But what is it? What is this? I mean, everyone moves up in life. And here I am back to square one, starting from scratch, $0 in my bank account as a business right now. So have I stepped down in life? Have I downgraded myself with this decision? I mean, these are real thoughts that I had. So when Ali sent me this question, I was like, deja vu. I literally thought that I had traveled back in time and that somebody was replaying my thoughts and my fears. And it was like, I was like, this is crazy. You know, she is probably feeling exactly the same thing. She has the same doubts, exactly what I felt. And it is just coincidence that Ali is an architect like I used to be. So that's why this just struck me that if you question whether becoming a full time photographer will be a step down for you, ask yourself, what is more important to you? Money, praise, applause, pleasing others, or following a dream? Because you know what? Whether it's money, whether it's praise, whether it is applause, it will come to you no matter what you do if you do it well. I mean, that's the truth of life, right? But ask yourself, are you willing to trust yourself? Are you willing to give it your 100%? Are you willing to work your hardest to make this career as successful as the previous one? Because you know that you did it once and you can do it again. Are you willing to feel like you just made the best decision of your life rather than sitting in doubt? The doubts, the opinions, the internal battles, the external battles, like they will drag you, they'll push you in directions that you don't want to go, and they will make you do things only for short term success, things you probably don't even want to do. What did I have to do? Well, I had to take a full 360-degree shift in my thinking. I had to completely change the way I thought about this to overcome that negative beginning because I was sabotaging my own journey, my own success in this journey. And I want to share this with you. I actually want to share all of that thought process with you because, in spite of what the truth is, I mean, we cannot change the facts and we cannot change the truth. But what we can do is reposition our thoughts. And I want to share it with you so that you can reposition your thoughts, and hopefully it will give you that boost and that positivity that will push you towards success and away from doubt. All right. So let's just pick one at a time and let's just talk about repositioning our thoughts. So the first one, will I be regarded as an intellectual person? Will photography be stimulating enough for me? All right. So, well, why not? Why not? I ask you, why not? Photography may not be thought as rocket science. Fine, fine. But creativity is something else, boss. Creativity is a real virtue, and running a business, it's not for the faint hearted. It is thrilling as heck. So, being a creative person and having intelligent conversations and doing high intellectual activities, I think that it goes beyond our profession. I mean, when you become a thought leader in your industry, when you demonstrate high quality in your work, no matter what you do, you demonstrate high quality in your work and you run a business and you take care of finances and the legal stuff while still being super creative, all parts of your brain are stimulated, boss. All parts. It's maybe too much stimulation, but all parts are stimulated. And you think that doesn't count as intelligence? Heck, yes, it does. I mean, being scholarly is only one kind of intelligence and one kind of stimulation. We can choose to make photography as dull or as stimulating by how in depth and where we take it. So it's all upon us. If you think photography is not stimulating or it will not be as intellectually satisfying, I beg to differ. All right, the next one. How do we reposition our thoughts around money? So, yes, people will wonder if you make enough money or not, but then who cares? Who cares? You think they will not wonder even if you have $1 million? Come on, man. Anyone who starts a new career is in the same shoes. In fact, you know what? People may wonder about your like financial situation, but you know what? Secretly, they will envy you and they will envy your passion for what you do. They will want to experience the same joy in their jobs as you feel in your photography. I mean, they may not perceive you as the wealthiest person in the room. They'll definitely see you rich with joy and passion. And like I said, money will come. Money always comes. If you do your work, money will come. Photographers make six figures, seven figures. It's all about building your career. So don't start with money and don't worry about financial judgment. All right. The third one, let's talk about support, that you're starting out and you will not have the support. And that's may or may not be true, right? Well, if it's any consolation for you, the rejection of our dreams from our family is actually just a protection, is their protection for us. They want us to be safe. They want us to be financially secure. They don't want us to take very risky decisions in life. And to be honest, sometimes they're not even fully aware of the potential of a certain career choice, especially when it comes to a career like photography. Because for the longest time in the olden times and for generations to come, photography was only a hobby. But usually what happens is that when they see results, they change their opinion. When they see us succeed, they will not be able to help but be happy for us. And that rejection turns into support. All we need to do is give it time and give them space. And of course, respect their choice to support or not support us. What's most important here is to have the faith within ourselves, and the rest will follow. So proceed without expectations and the support will follow. It will probably only be a matter of time. All right. So let's talk about the fourth thing that we need to reposition our thoughts about. So will I be taken seriously? Will I be respected? Well, we often feel like we're giving up one career to start another. We are throwing away our past career. We have wasted all these years. So we have all these thoughts, all right? But I always say that we wouldn't be here today if we weren't in that career yesterday. It is that life, that past life, that has brought us to this present life. We never, ever give up what we had. In fact, we take it with us in our new career, and it comes in different ways that we can take it. It comes in different forms. We can take it with us in the form of creativity. We can take it with us in the form of professional conduct, in our marketing techniques, in our software knowledge, and so forth. Till date, I call myself an architect turned food photographer. So take it with you, take your past with you, especially because you have spent so many years honing it, building it. Take it with you. You know what? That way, you'll be bringing two professional worlds together, your past and your present, something to be so proud of. And I feel something that is hugely respected in today's times, especially in today's times, because it sets you apart. It differentiates you from everyone else, not only in your new profession, in your new career, but also in your past industry, in your old circle. Who doesn't respect the bold and the brave? Yeah, right? So you will demonstrate that through your switch. The respect being taken seriously, it will all come. Be proud of what you take with you and take it with you. Don't think that you're leaving that past behind in which you were respected. You are doubling your respect, boss. All right. So there you go. Just a few ways to reposition your thoughts and cut out those unnecessary doubts, which are unfortunately centered around harsh truths. I mean, there's no denying that you will receive a lot of resistance from the world when you turn into a full-time photographer, and resistance internally as well, especially when you switch from a thriving career or a secure job, then definitely your brain is trying to protect you. It's too risky. But as long as you have the conviction in yourself that you'll make it, and that too successfully, whether it's money, whether it's respect, whether it's stimulation, or whether it's intellect, I don't care. Like everything comes, man. Just give it a fair chance. Give it your best chance. When we follow our heart, it is only an upgrade to the quality of the life that we are building for ourselves. You'll probably never feel like it was a downgrade or a step down in your life if your heart is in the right place and if your purpose is clear in front of you. All we need to do is really believe in it and be willing to stand up for it and fight those who come in the way, even if it is our own self. We need to sometimes even fight ourselves. So I might have left you with a lot of personal opinion, even though I said that I'm not going to try and influence your thoughts, but I feel like I might have left you with a lot of personal opinion here. But in the end, I've put everything, I've laid everything out on the table. Here are the truths, and here is what you can do about it. So, what do you want to do? You want to be doubtful, or you want to just follow your heart and be bold and brave? It's totally up to you. Again, no hints here, no personal opinions here. What I want you to do is to decide for yourself whether turning to photography will be a step up for you or a step down. Will it be an upgrade for you or will it downgrade you? I mean, you are the only one who can take this decision, who can decide this for yourself, because it is your life and your personal situation. What might apply to Ali and me may not apply to you. Maybe you have another situation that comes up, which is a real harsh truth for you. So only you are in the best position to decide whether being a photographer or switching from your corporate career to creative career is a downgrade or an upgrade for you. No one else can do it on your behalf. And don't let anyone else decide that for you either. Don't let someone else's perception of food photography change your own perception. I mean, what happened to me at my daughter's school, I don't really know the truth. I will never know the truth. But that's how it came across to me, that person, my daughter's friend's mom, she clearly didn't think that I was an equal, that food photography was kind of as, pish posh as probably her job. And she didn't think that I was an equal enough to hold that conversation with me. Well, that's her choice. Too bad. Is that going to make me feel bad about what I do? Not really. Not really. All I can say is that really no career is big or small. It's just a matter of perspective. Do not let your negative perceptions sabotage your chance at pursuing a career of your dreams. Just give it a fair chance. Again, no personal opinions here. Decide for yourself. I didn't say anything. Shush. All right. So if you enjoyed this episode and if you thought that you could relate to it, you have to let me know. First of all, please go ahead, rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening. And secondly, if you would like to send me a question, just hit the record button and send me a voice message on Instagram or email. And just like Ali, we will have your questions answered on the podcast too, so that it's not just for you, but we help the entire community. All right. And if you have a question about this episode, you know where to find me. Just email me at hello@myfoodlens.com or send me a DM on Instagram, because I would love to know. I would love to know whether you have had a different harsh reality, a different truth when you made the switch, or whether you're going through it right now. I want to know it all. So send me an email, DM me on Instagram. All right. And I'll see you next week with another episode. Until then, bye-bye.